Well, the Eagles officially here ruling out Carson Wentz with that back injury, the fractured back. So that means it is, in fact, as we all have been expecting this week, Nick Foles time against the Rams. Helping us look forward to this matchup, here's Steve Wyche with more.
Well, the Rams spent this week preparing to face backup and Super Bowl MVP quarterback Nick Foles of the Philadelphia Eagles. And defensive coordinator Wade Phillips said the Rams' game plan won't change very much because the offense won't change very much between the two quarterbacks. And keep in mind, it was Foles who came in and salvaged the victory for the Eagles last season when Wentz went down in Week 14 against the Rams. Now, the Rams also got some insight on the 2018 version of the Eagles from outside linebacker Dante Fowler. Remember, Fowler was traded to the Rams from Jacksonville just 2 days after playing the Eagles in late October. Now, offensively for the Rams, head coach Sean McVay said they have to be more balanced and get running back Todd Gurley more involved. Gurley had just 11 carries in last weekend's loss to the Bears, and again, McVay was very critical of himself. And by mixing it up, McVay said he could keep the strength of the Eagles' defense, that defensive line, off balance.
Great stuff there, Steve. And look, Nick Foles making his third start of the season for the Eagles. His stats the last 2 years have been pretty good. A 6-2 record, 12 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. And we can't forget about the receiving touchdown against the Pats in the Super Bowl there.
Special.
The Philly special. So Foles steps in for the injured Carson Wentz, who's officially listed as doubtful. And as we just saw, he's officially out. Officially out right now. So let's get you back a few weeks ago when Bart Scott was on this very show. And he said this.
Foles might be better for this team right now.
Oh, no, whoa, Bart.
Bart, you sound like my mom.
When I say Foles, I'm talking about the RPOs because they're giving Wentz too much of the offense, and this isn't the same team that they had last year.
Care to double down, Bart?
Nostradamus. I'm doubling down. Of course I'm doubling down. I tell you what. When I look at Wentz, I see somebody that's trying to recapture his MVP's form, but he doesn't have the same supporting cast. You know, Jeffries didn't come in healthy. Peters has been hurt all year. They don't have that hammer. So what do you need to do? You need to simplify the offense so it can play fast and kill defenses with tempo. So now with Nick Foles in there, I think they're going to go back to the RPOs. He's going to be able to have easy reads, move fast. Last year when they played the Rams, you know, this is exactly what they did, being able to move the ball, quick decisions, and then what happens is when you sneak that 8th man in the box trying to figure out what's going to happen, that's when he takes the shot down the field. My only concern is, for Nick Foles' standpoint, this opportunity for him to increase his value for free agency, but also he can only hurt it because the last thing we remember is him in the Philly special and being the MVP of the Super Bowl. But it's going to be fun to watch. Be careful when you listen to players that come from former teams because you realize that they're under pressure to say something, but a lot of them aren't very smart.
I mean, the last thing I remember from Nick Foles, he was having his own issues with this offense in weeks 1 and 2.
He was.
That's because they were trying to do it traditionally. Wasn't trying to go back and trying to make him more what he was.
So you think they revamped this offense right here and try to get back? The difference is also, too, that they were running the football in the playoffs. And they had like Garrett Blunt grinding it out. And they do not have that running game right now. That is a problem. Now, the Rams have given up 4.8 yards per rush this season. So I think if they've got a shot here, it's because they're going to go up against this Rams defense and get that ground game going some way, somehow. I just don't think you just flip a switch and all of a sudden it comes back to you.
I'm going to come up smelling like roses.
All of a sudden, we're going to be playing another Bart Scott soundbite from this week, next week. But, yeah, and, Jeezy, you mentioned it, too, earlier in the show that this offensive line, it just hasn't been playing the same. So I worry about that with Nick Foles in there because we know he's not the most mobile. He can move around, but, like, that's not his strength.
Certainly not the mobility that you get from Carson Wentz, but I'm done ranting about Carson Wentz. You want to see it? It's on Twitter right now.
Did it go viral? It went viral?
I don't know. I've never been viral. How do you know when you've gone viral?
You just know.
You'll know.
Just know.
Oh, you'll know. I'm worried about this Eagles defense right now. They gave up over 500 yards of offense to the Dallas Cowboys, gave up over 100 yards rushing to Zeke twice, 2 different times. So this is a team. This defense supposedly got better on paper. I know they're banged up in the secondary, but at the end of the day, they still have that defensive line that's still really good, but they just haven't lived up to that next year. And I feel like there's so many holes in this defense right now. These games don't get easier; they get harder. So you gave up over 100 to Zeke, over 500 yards to that offense. Now you got to go face the Los Angeles Rams, who are just as good, probably better than the Dallas Cowboys right now on the offensive side of the ball. Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs, in the NFL right now. So I'm worried about this.
They couldn't get the run going though last week.
They could not.
The
Now here's what I wonder.
But we just heard Sean McVay say that he has to get Todd Gurley more involved, which is bad.
Here's what I wonder, and you guys can tell me: does a game like that against the Bears last week, does that disrupt their rhythm? I mean, can you get back into it, or can that game have lasting effect?
Veteran teams do. Veteran teams can find ways to correct their mistakes very quickly. Veteran teams find ways to get better, in a week's time, and that's the ultimate sign of a mature football team.
I think the Bears last week was rocky, and the Rams were Ivan Drago, and we just realized that they do bleed like everybody else, and they do have warts. All teams have warts. This defense has been getting away. People have given this defense a pass because they've been winning. With Aaron Donald, potentially the defensive MVP, covering up a lot of warts that this team has. They can't stop the run, and with all their personnel, they're average defense at best.
Wow. Well, the nice thing, though, about the Rams is they don't have anybody on the injury report right now, which is the complete opposite of the Eagles coming in. I know, which is pretty amazing for it to be Week 15. The Eagles have 10 guys on the injury report. So I'm wondering how this is going to shake out with them. I'm wondering how the secondary will play for the Eagles.
You're not wondering, you're worrying. You're worrying for the Eagles.
I might be worrying,
wondering,
maybe it's the same thing.
It'll be a tight game.
It will be. That's